Hello, marijuana stock traders and investors. We're going to check in on some Canadian names and some US names as we are in a very strong market recently. Lots of solid uptrends, some short-term catalysts that we're looking towards, and just checking in. I haven't been doing as much videos in the sector recently as there's a lot going on. Tons of opportunity all over the place. In 2017 to 2018, crypto had its run, Canadian MJ had its run, and the timing was beautiful because they didn't overlap too much. And right now, we've got crypto running, we've got MJ running, we've got electric vehicle stocks running, the broader market's hitting all-time highs. So there's a lot more going on, and I look back and I have absolutely no idea how I put out so many videos years ago when I used to cover everything every day. That's insanity to me at this point. So checking in now, we got CGC, and at the end of this video, I'm going to look at some member questions and answer those. But we'll start with technical analysis. CGC, daily higher low is set. That new benchmark level is 26.56. As long as that level holds, the bulls have complete control on the daily time frame. Nice little reset button. First hourly oversold conditions coming off a significant daily bull move. Back burner trade is what we call that. Hit that hourly oversold at the end of yesterday or 2 days ago. Bounce yesterday, a little bit of follow through today. And in the end, almost an 8% bounce from first hourly oversold conditions. Bulls are in full control. So we're looking at resistance of 29.44. So the question here is, can the bulls break 29.44 and just keep this daily uptrend going? Or do we reject and see this range tighten up? And both are possible, but with where we stand right now, bulls are strong, and we'll likely get that answer tomorrow. So keeping a close eye on that resistance. Bulls would definitely prefer more volume today, but shaping up to potentially see a volume spike tomorrow. So CGC, where's the next resistance level after this high of 29.44? We're looking back here at limited resistance until 34.34. So the shift has taken place, and obviously you recognize, if you've been watching the sector for the last few years, it feels different. Why does it feel different? Because we're in monthly, weekly, and daily uptrends. Very different market environment than when you are in monthly, weekly, and daily downtrends. So we'll see how long the bulls can keep up the daily uptrend. When that daily uptrend is lost, anything above 1383 is a weekly higher low. We have not set a weekly higher low since then because every single week is a higher low compared to the previous week. So lots of space for a weekly higher low once we lose the daily uptrend. VFF, hourly, or I should say daily higher low set, 972. Did we get to hourly oversold conditions? Yes, we did. We got right to that level, down to 972, 10% bounce at this point. And again, same question. Are we going to form a daily lower high compared to 1159 and tighten up? Or can we just see continuation from here? And that 972 level is our short-term line in the sand, and we had no support nearby before that because we had run so fast and hard. And this is now, again, that new benchmark level that everybody's looking towards for the bulls to maintain their strength. APHA, daily higher low set, 750, heading back up to the high. You can see everybody's doing the same thing to a certain degree. 868 is that resistance level, and it looks like all of these names are going to test those resistances tomorrow. Full disclosure, I might short these names, some of these names, one of these names, at that resistance. Why would I do that? Because I have swing positions in USMJ, and if we're going to see market consolidation or sector consolidation, then that would offset any drop that my account would see. I have been day trading the Canadian MJ space because of the liquidity and the volume, and I have been swing trading the US MJ space. So that's on the table for me tomorrow, and I may make an attempt, and if I were going to, I would probably choose CGC. These are the three strongest major Canadian MJ names, technically speaking, and they continue to prove it on a consistent basis. Then you have names like ACB, and ACB and TLRY, they are pretty much leveraged versions of those other tickers in the sense that when the sector is trading in unison, they're going to go up more, but they're also going to drop more as well. They see bigger percentage moves in both directions. Why do they go up more? There's a lot more shorts. Why do they drop more? There's a lot more shorts. So inside bars on ACB has my attention. The range is just tightening, and we know there's going to be a volume and volatility spike likely tomorrow. So tomorrow, a break of 1053 would be bearish, and a break of the high of today would be bullish, and we're going to be watching that short term for a little bit of a volatile move. I have traded ACB a bit over the past few days, and just getting comfortable with it. I haven't traded ACB in so long consistently. So CGC, I actually have traded all three of those major names and ACB over the last couple weeks. Again, just real short day trades. So we got IIPR tightening up on the US side of things. We have 165 as resistance. We formed a lower high at 160. Pretty much sideways trading. The most important support for me is 148.79, and then we would look to 144.41. So maybe due for some further weekly consolidation. We would then look for a weekly higher low to form compared to 112.25. If I were going to be looking bearish here, which I'm not at the moment, I would want to see one more hold of support of 148.79, one more little lower high, and then a break. I essentially would want things to get as tight as possible before that break would take place. But as of right now, it's just a question of, are we ready to see weekly consolidation yet or not? GRWG, awesome all-time high run, just slow and steady every single day. We finally pulled back to set those higher lows, just like we saw in CGC and APHA. Our new daily higher low is 32.23, and the bulls are trying to make their way back to 37.31. So you can see it's doing the same thing as our strongest Canadian MJ names. Why are they so correlated? Because they are all trading on major exchanges. We got NASDAQ, 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 NASDAQ. So they are correlated to each other in that way. But isn't GRWG a US name? And doesn't it not even deal with the plant? And yeah, but it doesn't matter. The correlations with the bots and the algos and the traders on the larger exchange matters more than little fundamental differences as far as subsectors of the same sector. On to our MSOs. So I have positions in all of these names and entered on this pullback. When we were looking at hourly oversold conditions and we were looking for weekly higher lows on some of these names, some of them didn't even pull back enough for that. So fortunate enough to get good entries, and those good entries allowed for averaging up. I added to my winners into strength and I averaged up, and I don't do that fairly often with swing trades, but definitely did in this sector. And we have Cureleaf right now. Always toggle between the US and the Canadian tickers. The US tickers have more volume, but oftentimes the Canadian tickers' daily candles will be more clear to me, and that's just because a lack of pre-market trading and the illiquidity on the OTC, and you'll often see big upper wicks or lower wicks in the first couple minutes of trading as we get a spike that then is irrelevant for the rest of the day, essentially. But we got Cureleaf testing, 1169, the all-time high, and we have a new all-time high today. So bulls are in complete control, and this was a beautiful, just V-shaped recovery. And that left a lot of people in the dust, which we will get to when I answer some member questions. But this is normally the kind of pattern where if I see this, I would then be looking for a solid bounce. Great. I'm looking to get in on that higher low, play off that support, confirm the daily trend change, let's go. And it just did not allow for that opportunity as there's a lot of buying pressure. So weekly bull flag is being confirmed. Let's see how much follow through we can get from here. TCNNF also at all-time highs. And again, you look at this daily chart, you might say, you know, it's not exactly clear, and then you compare it to TRUL and say, oh, okay, that's a daily bull flag. That looks more like a daily bull flag to me than TCNNF does. So it's very healthy consolidation. It's very brief. The all-time high is right there. We're looking for a daily higher low to form. Looking good. No red flags. GTBIF, potential cup and handle. Left side of resistance, failed to break it. Actually, we broke it by a couple pennies, but we're calling that a double top, and now a bull flag. This is the kind of setup where if it is a cup and handle, we need to see a big spike in bull volume and a big clear break over 22 to confirm it. And you can see the volume is just slowly dropping off, which again tells us volume and volatility are incoming to break that pattern of lower volume every day. CRLBF, a little bit toppy. We haven't seen a daily higher low form since 869. And if we're going to look at it on the Canadian side just to see how it stands in comparison, again, a little toppy without daily consolidation. This had the briefest pullback in response to earnings, in my opinion, because it was the biggest surprise beat on earnings. And anything above 1138 is that daily higher low. So I wouldn't be surprised to see daily consolidation in the near term, but plenty of space for that daily higher low to form. So now we're going to look at some of the other names, and these are going to be some tier 2 names that traders are looking for a little bit more risk and reward by playing and hoping that they act as the leaders do, and they have been for the most part. TRSSF, daily volume's getting up there. That 20-day average volume is currently 918, we'll call it 3 to 4 million. So it's getting there. I want to see 5 million plus. When I was looking at MSOS, let's look at that, by the way. I wanted to see $5 million traded daily on an average daily basis. And right now, we've got about 9 million. And you can see the volume spiked when options began trading. And options market definitely has an influence on dollar volume traded in common shares, as there's a lot of balancing going on and potentially hedging and offsetting and all that. So MSOS, bulls are in complete control. I would call anything above 29.36 a daily high or low. We haven't seen any real consolidation, haven't seen any real consolidation. Tiny little pullback yesterday, but haven't seen that in a week and a half at this point. So TRSSF, let's compare it again, because again, I don't like that gap down open where that support level was established here. TerraSend. TER. So there's a little higher low, and I'm not calling that our higher low yet. If we break to a higher high, then our new support level is 1204 there. If we don't, then it's still the same period of consolidation, still looking for a higher low, anything above 970 for me. So comparing that to here, not calling this 899 level or daily higher low yet, unless the bulls can break 1015. That's a double top at the all-time high, but we're right there. Not a double top, a couple percent below. So all-time high is right there, certainly in play. We are very overextended. We're not going to lose sight of that, because we know when hype and FOMO leaves this sector, which it will, it's going to leave, it's going to come back, it's going to leave again. That's going to happen for the next 20 years. But we have to be cautious, because the names that run the hardest and establish the least amount of support on the way up do pull back the hardest. So again, there's no sign of that. Just be aware that this name, when we see hype and FOMO leave this space, eventually, it will pull back hard. But there's no sign of that. So again, it all depends on what your time frame is. And in the short term, bulls still in complete control. CXXI, daily volume is nowhere near me having any interest in it. We're talking $300,000 plus traded a day. So I'm just covering it because a lot of people requested it. And it did make a nice clear break. I like the weekly time frame. When you break these levels and there's no resistance nearby, you know there's some decent opportunity. And once 103 and 106 broke, the next clear resistance for me is up at 180. And you can see the bulls just really following through. As soon as those levels broke, it exploded. And that's because the dollar volume pours in, traders recognize the lack of resistance, and it moves a lot easier. So beautiful breakout. Next time we consolidate, plenty of space for the daily high or low. Resistance is 134, and then we're looking up at 180 as the next major level. So that is where we stand. Let's get to some questions. What will be the reaction to the vote short term? So the vote. We have Congress voting on legalizing MJ in the House this Friday. That vote means nothing to me, except I know that it means headlines, coverage, and unfortunately, a lot of retail traders are going to think that it, has the possibility of becoming a law. Again, the Senate, it's dead on arrival at the Senate. Unless there is a change in the Senate in January in Georgia to give the Democrats the Senate, we can anticipate that bills regarding MJ are going to still struggle, like we just watched for 4 years in a row. We've watched them all die as soon as they got there. We know they're going to pass the House. We know they're going to fail the Senate. So it's possible we re-enter that environment for the next 4 years, and we're going to be keeping a close eye on that. But I would anticipate USMJ probably going to see daily consolidation after Friday. Again, if we're just keeping up this little slow and steady higher low every day, no real daily consolidation, if this keeps up, then absolutely it would make sense to see some daily consolidation and ideally daily higher lows once that short-term little news catalyst is out of the way. And that's the kind of move where, again, people in the know that it's not really going to matter. They buy leading into the news, and then they sell the news because, unfortunately, some underinformed average Joe is going to see the headline over the weekend. If the House passes it, which we're anticipating has a good chance, the House passes marijuana legalization, and they're going to rush to their computer Monday, and they're going to buy the shares from the people in the know that bought 2 weeks prior or a week prior, knowing that the vote was coming, being prepared, and they're going to sell to the FOMO newer trader. So we'll see if that happens. I wouldn't be surprised. Why does potato salad go bad in the sun? The mayonnaise and the eggs in the mayonnaise. General pricing in of UN and US voting of MSOs versus LPs. I think they're going to react very similarly. And we've been seeing the USMJ space not see the same size moves as the Canadian names, not seeing the dollar volume. And it's very understandable why. If you try and trade names on the OTC and then you compare it to trading them on the NASDAQ, it's night and day. It's not the same game, and it's a lot harder. So it doesn't surprise me that traders are utilizing that's what I'm doing. I'm day trading Canadian names. I'm more interested in the US names, but I know where the opportunity is. I'm not going to fight that. So pricing in, I think a lot of it is priced in, but I also don't think that we're running on that at this moment. This leg up is due to fantastic financials. People took profit after them. People were ready to buy the dip like myself, and then we got bullish follow through. In my opinion, what matters more than all that right now is the S&P 500, which is at all-time highs. The next time we see consolidation on the weekly time frame in the S&P 500, that's probably going to be the most significant consolidation we see in the MJ space in the recent past. So that's what I'm watching as almost a more important factor, really. But that's my trader mindset and my short-term trader mindset. Psychedelic stocks, please. Not going to cover them here. I actually did buy MindMed penny stock on the OTC for the first time, trading a penny stock in a long time today. But I cover those in our weekend videos in the chat room. Can I please include CWeb? Glad I'm going down here. I would have forgot. CWeb. So CWeb is a laggard. Look at the monthly time frame. We're looking for a monthly lower high. It is a massive difference, bigger picture, versus peers. And you can't even really, there's sector peers, but they're not in the same subsector. Again, this is hemp. This has nothing to do with MSOs, but we've got a monthly downtrend. And anything under 1017 is just a monthly lower high. Everything else is in monthly uptrends. Big difference. Weekly time frame, plenty of space for a higher low next time we consolidate. Absolutely. Daily chart. It's correlating to the MSOs recently. Bulls are trying to form another higher low at 621. If we get a bull break of $7, 621 is our new daily higher low. As it stands, the most important short-term level for me right now on the daily is 572. Daily EMA trying to hold the 12 period here, which has held the past couple periods of consolidation. And when we lose the daily higher lows and lose the daily EMA 12, we zoom out and we look for a weekly higher low. Just don't lose sight of that monthly trend, because that monthly trend matters. Best tickers for Europe. Honestly, I'm not interested in Europe a whole lot in the short term. There are definitely some possible catalysts there. Maybe I need to read up on the UN vote, but for me, everything that's come out of, global policy in marijuana over the last 10 years, it just doesn't matter. It doesn't mean anything. The U.S. has to set the example. That's been my opinion of it, and maybe that's wrong. Maybe I need to update my research, but for me, that UN vote doesn't really mean anything, in all honesty. Would I be interested in addressing how Buy American trend may create resistance to Canadian MJ companies heading south of the border when there are changes that allow them to? CGC sitting pretty with the Constellation connection, but there's potential headwinds against US MSOs, all-American climate. Do you see resistance there being a Tweed store on every corner down the road? So it's definitely, just visually, you've got these US MSOs establishing their footprint, planting their roots, and getting a stronghold on the market. Absolutely. And it will be a shakeup when we see Canadian MJ names allowed to enter the space. But it's a huge advantage to the US MJ names the longer that the Canadian names are kept out. It's just allowing a bigger and bigger footprint and a larger and larger market share before that changes. So it is definitely a disadvantage in that regard. CGC, you might say, has more resources, more capital, and all that, and that's absolutely true. But as far as mindset, if you're talking about market mindset, is a consumer going to say, I want to buy the American brand and not the Canadian brand? I don't think that's going to have a huge impact on what people choose. But I know humans are creatures of habit. And if they already have their happy habit of going to the store that's already there down the road, like they've been going to for the last 2 years, and then you have CGC popping stores up, there's definitely going to be, consumers are going to stay where they're comfortable as long as it serves, as long as it's not better and cheaper out of CGC. How do I fight the FOMO when I'm all cash waiting for a bigger pullback that doesn't seem to ever happen? Absolutely, that's a tough one. I mean, these names after earnings gave one chance, one pullback on the daily for that entry. And if you were not entering on that daily pullback, you're on the sidelines having missed that move. And unfortunately, that's my answer. You just got to chalk it up as a missed move. And you have to do what you feel comfortable with at this point. Maybe it's waiting for buying the next daily consolidation. If we do see a little sell-off after the headline Friday, if we get that headline, maybe you're waiting for weekly consolidation. And that's entirely possible as well. An aggressive bull is going to be entering the next daily consolidation. And I mean, GTBIF is seeing it right now. We're trading sideways. If I want to be real aggressive, I can make an entry and 2089 is my stop level. I can keep it real tight. But on a name like CURA, missed trade, absolutely. And if I did not enter when I had, I would have definitely missed that trade. So next clear period of daily consolidation, there's going to be a lot of people buying dips because that's what FOMO does. And we're seeing that in cryptocurrency as well, where dips are being bought because there's a lot of people still on the sidelines. Thoughts on Christmas rally, extra profit taking. I honestly don't pay much attention to seasonality. The only seasonality I care about is MJ voting season. And the fall and the winter for the MJ sector has generally been good. But I don't go into this year or the next few weeks thinking about a Christmas rally at all. (2021) predictions and opinions. Honestly, I don't. SPY is going to dictate it. If SPY drops 10% to start 2021, this sector is going to pull back hard. If it keeps running to all-time highs on a daily basis, this sector is going to remain very strong. Predicting doesn't really do me well with my trading. It's a reaction on a day-to-day basis. And I have no idea what SPY is going to do. SPY could see monthly consolidation, and that's going to dictate it, in my opinion, in the short term. I don't see any kind of negative catalyst that could lead to the MJ sector pulling back hard while the broader market stays strong. So in my opinion, it's the broader market that would have to dictate any meaningful drop from here. Longer term entry strategies, weekly consolidation. You got to sit and wait. It's not the ideal answer. It's not the fun answer. But we don't want to chase this move. If you're looking long term, entering these levels long term, not ideal. Daily consolidation. Again, aggressive bulls can look. I wasn't planning it. If you told me the days that I entered these MJ positions on this consolidation, that I would still be holding 2 weeks later, I honestly probably wouldn't have thought that would be the case. So very quickly, those shorter term positions that I was maybe thinking of, swing trading for 3 or 4 days have turned now into a 2-week swing trade. And if the bulls keep up strength for another, 2 months, maybe I'll be holding these positions in a few months. I have no idea. But an aggressive bull is going to look to buy daily consolidation and try and hope that that is a longer term entry. Otherwise, we have to wait for weekly consolidation, which again, in my opinion, will be dictated by the S&P 500. Sentiment of new traders coming into the MJ stocks, just hype, FOMO, euphoria, all those buzzwords that we see so often. CNBC is doing a good job getting them interested, and then you have these websites that are putting out multiple articles every single day. Top 2 US MJ stocks to buy. Why these stocks are going to go up this many %. They're getting all those new traders in there and jacked up on hype. What to do when companies finance or release shares? It's going to happen. And leads to daily consolidation often. And if we just compare it to the mushroom space, MindMed just did that. Here's their big bull move, and here's them timely issuing shares, and bulls bought that dip for our daily higher low. So you could look at it as everybody that's on the sidelines and feeling FOMO, they're going to use that opportunity. If there's a bearish reaction to dilution news, they're going to be buying that dip. Seems like there's a total FOMO market now where there's a lot of momentum going to Canadian names where people made big money before, even though they aren't going to benefit the most under new U.S. laws. Do I think we will see a shift in FOMO to U.S. MSOs, or will this not happen until uplisting? I do not think this will happen until uplisting. This is FOMO right now on the OTC, and it's just slow and steady green. We're not seeing big 10% days, and it's nice and controlled. I love it being in a swing position, because if we were moving a lot more with a lot more volatility, I would be, more inclined to be acting a lot more than I am. Slow and steady is great for me and what I want to see in my swing positions. But we have to see uplisting. There are traders out there that are trading 7 figures in CGC, APHA, Cron, all these names. They are trading 7 figures, and they have a rule of thumb. I am not touching the OTC names. And if this were not the MJ sector, and if I didn't have a 10-year history with it, I would be in the exact same boat. There's so much more opportunity on the NASDAQ and the NYSE and not messing around with penny stocks on the OTC. So when we upgrade, it's a game changer. And I remember how big a game changer it was, because I was trading, CGC, whatever ticker it used to be, I don't even remember, TWMJF, when it was on the OTC. And then when it uplisted, everything changed. And it was the greatest. And there was more volatility, and there was more day trading opportunity, and there was more FOMO. Why is there more FOMO and fear in these? Well, I won't say there's more fear. There's more FOMO because it's easier to short. There is more access to short these names. So there's definitely a short squeeze aspect of things when you're trading on a larger exchange. And it's also, again, just a lot more dollar volume at play. And so the market makers and those that know how to play this game with big money know that they maximize their profit in both directions when they get everybody as hyped up and as much FOMO as possible. Gap ups, all-time highs, 20% move up over 2 days, and then they just dump it and they shake everybody out and they go max fear. We saw it all happen in the Canadian MJ space. That's going to happen to these US MJ names after they uplist. So that's what we're waiting for. And it's going to be great. All right, I'm done talking. Have a good rest of your day. And we'll check back in sometime. I'll see you guys over the weekend if you're a Chart Guys member. Otherwise, we'll check back in when something changes.